Okay, so in this homework, we're going to be looking at inputs, append, and fstring. So let's take a look at section 1, which is inputs. So you have to do these two things here. Ask the user two questions, save both answers in a variable. So let's say that we have something else. Okay, we're going to say that the assignment is ask the user for their scariest fear and save it inside a variable. Let's break this down. Okay, we'll get rid of this for now. So we're going to say input. What is your scariest fear? If I press play, you can see that I can now type things into the console. Let's say heights. But when I press enter, nothing happens. That's because we haven't printed off the input. We haven't printed it off, and we haven't saved it to a variable, and we haven't printed that variable off either. So there's a few things we can do. Let's use print here. Okay, and now when I press play, let's say fire, it's going to print fire again. So you can see that as fire, this is what I typed in, and then this is fire, which is the thing being printed right there. Now, a smarter way to do this would be to save this to a variable. So what would be a good variable to save the answer to this question? That's how you can think about it. What's the answer to this question? Oh, it's a scary fear. So we can then say scary fear is equal to input. What is your scariest fear? And then we can just print off scary fear. And this will hopefully print off our scariest fear. Let's say drowning. Okay, good, drowning, perfect. Now, let's move on. So we can now print this inside of a string to make it make more sense. How do we do that? We can say this. We can say your scariest fear is ... plus scary fear. Get rid of this. Now this is using concatenation, so it's basically going to add these two together or put them next to each other. So if we press play, let's say sharp knives. Your scariest fear is sharp knives. So it's using this variable on line 1, which is equal to the answer you gave for this question in the console right here, and then it's printing off this sentence plus the information that's stored inside this variable. I know that's confusing, but if you do these two, you'll understand it. And it's just a case of doing it enough times so that you understand how it works. Good. Next thing is f strings. F strings are way better. Instead of doing this, we could use an f string. We can just say, your scariest fear is scary fear. And this is how we include a variable inside of a string without having to use a plus symbol or more than one string inside the print statement. However, we need to add the f. If we have the f, you can see this is white. And now this is going to print off our scariest fear. Let's say big holes. This is called tryptophobia, I think. There we go. Your scariest fear is big holes. Okay, but we can also take this f off and see what happens. Let's say Coca-Cola. Look what happened. Your scariest fear is scary fear. Because we didn't include the f, this has not been recognized as a variable. So we need to make sure we have the f, like so. Good. Let's get rid of that, and we'll go to the next section. So for this section here, it should be pretty easy. All you have to do is use the variables from section 1 and then print one in a sentence using an f string such as this. So you can say, you hear curly brace, inside the curly brace is a variable, in the forest, and notice a glowing curly brace, inside the curly brace something else on the path, and you can write that all in one sentence. This is an example like that. You can see it's using the variable color, which contains the word blue, but I want you to use one of these variables that you defined in this section. Good. Now, section 3, append. And actually, we're going to add a few things here. So let's add knife. Let's also add machete, which is a bigger knife. Let's also add matches, which is something you can use to start fire. Good. Now you can see here, this is a list, and this is a new item, torch, which is not inside the bag list. So if we use bag.append item, it should append that to the bag. So let's take a look at that. Okay, good. And I don't know why these have come off wrong. Okay, let's do knife like so. Okay. machete and matches. Good. So if we print bag, let's say print bag, it's going to print off the list. Rope, knife, machete, matches. Now, if I wanted to append something, so we'll put it in here. We'll use an F string. Okay, we'll say the list before we append anything is, and put bag inside these curly braces, close the string. There we go. Perfect. And let's add a space here, maybe, just so it's neater. We'll add one right there too. Okay, good. Right there. Okay, good. Now, let's save something inside of a variable. We'll say found item. So maybe we found an item on the floor. Maybe we found a magic leaf. Whoa, amazing, right? Okay, so we can now say bag.append, and we're going to append the found item, which is equal to magic leaf. So this is going to append the found item to the bag list at the end of the list right here. So if we now copy paste this over, and we'll say the list before or after we append found item is bag so-and-so. So let's compare these two. Okay, so this is the list before, this is the list after. So you can see we've successfully appended magic leaf. Amazing. Now, what I want you to do is ask the user if they found something useful, and then save that input into a variable and then append it to pack. So remember, we're going to use, instead of using found item, we're going to use an input. Then ask the question you'd ask someone if you want to find out what item they found, and then you can continue to use this code, right? So I'll get rid of that. Good. The next thing is going to be to use everything together. Okay. And yeah, we can see we have an empty list called event log. Okay, we're going to ask the user, did you spot something unusual? What is it? Save the answer and append it to the event log. Now, using everything you've done so far, you should be able to answer this question quite easily. So have lots of fun and yeah, enjoy yourself. Any questions, message me. I'm here to help. Otherwise, goodbye. See you guys in the next lesson.